Coming up next, it's the premiere of Minions. Minions continues next. The premiere of The Year Without a Santa Claus continues next. Coming up next, it's the premiere of A Christmas Story. A Christmas Story continues next. Polar Express continues next. The premiere of Fred Claus continues next. Coming up next, it's Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Teen Titans Go to the Movies continues next. Coming up next, it's the premiere of Spider-Man 3. Coming up next, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory continues next. A new Teen Titans Go Thanksgiving special continues next. Coming up next, it's the premiere of Spider-Man 2. Coming up next, it's a new Apple and Onion. Coming up next, it's more Apple and Onion. Coming up next, it's Apple and Onion. Coming up next, it's more Apple and Onion. The We Bare Bears Marathon continues next. Coming up next, it's We Bare Bears. Coming up next, it's more We Bare Bears. Coming up next, it's Spider-Man. Coming up next, it's Lego Batman the Movie, DC Superheroes Unite. Coming up next, Lego Batman the Movie, DC Superheroes Unite continues. Coming up next, it's a new Total Dramarama. Coming up next, it's a new Jellystone. Jellystone continues next. Coming up next, it's a new Teen Titans Go. Coming up next, it's a new Victor and Valentino Dia de Muertos special. Coming up next, it's Total Dramarama. Coming up next, it's more Total Dramarama. Coming up next, it's The Amazing World of Gumball. Coming up next, it's more of The Amazing World of Gumball. Coming up next, it's Victor and Valentino. Coming up next, it's more Victor and Valentino. Coming up next, it's Teen Titans Go. Coming up next, it's more Teen Titans Go. Coming up next, it's Craig of the Creek. Coming up next, it's more Craig of the Creek.
Coming up next, it's the Lego Batman movie. The Lego Batman movie continues next.
The Lego Movie 2, the second part, continues next. Coming up next, it's Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. Coming up next, Tim Burton's Corpse Bride continues. Coming up next, it's the premiere of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo continues next. Coming up next, it's a new Craig of the Creek holiday special. Coming up next, it's the Iron Giant. The Iron Giant continues next. Coming up next, it's the premiere of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Coming up next, it's the premiere of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. Coming up next, the premiere of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 continues. Coming up next, it's the premiere of Harry Potter, Hogwarts Tournament of Houses, Part 1.
Coming up next, it's Courage the Cowardly Dog. Coming up next, it's more of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Coming up next, it's Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Coming up next, it's more Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Coming up next, it's Codename Kids Next Door. Coming up next, it's more Codename Kids Next Door. Coming up next, it's the Ben 10 Holiday Special. Coming up next, it's the Adventure Time Holiday Special. Coming up next, it's the Steven Universe Holiday Special.